Sparks that I don't remember. Hold and let it shine. Fix and start to fade away. Fix and start to fade away. Fix and start to fade away.
Hello, dear friends of Kabbalah International. We are once again with Mario Saban.
Shalom Nacho, how are you? Sabbath Shalom to all?
Sabbath Shalom, Mario. Very happy to be here once again with you. Today we are going to talk about the difference between faith and Emunah. And I wrote down a little reflection, which I don't know if it will be useful or not, to help with the process. Regardless, I hope it provides some clarity and insight into our current situation.
Let's have Emunah that it will be useful.
Exactly, let's have Emunah. We don't really know for sure why we have been created, do we? But Emunah, I believe, is knowing that we are needed by the Creator, which exhorts us to fulfill our function within creation. That is a good starting point.
That's right. Well, let's see. First of all, I would start with the term Emunah, to explain the term Emunah in some depth, and then move on to the concept of faith and explain the differences.
Excellent.
Emunah, notice, comes from the root imun, which means training, and also from there comes the word amen, which means so be it. It means that Emunah is confidence. Confidence in what? Let's see. When I have confidence, it is, of course. I have confidence because I train myself, because I do something to have confidence. A person with whom you do not yet have enough trust. Why don't you have enough confidence? Because you haven't trained that relationship yet. And with time, that relationship is trained and verified, and it appears distrust. So, trust is based on actions, not on an abstract thought. This is perhaps the first difference with the concept of faith. Next, we will explore why the concept of faith emerged, particularly in the Christian world and across all religious traditions, regarding the question of what is the idea of trust. It means that trust is, well, let's see, who do I trust? Well, I trust that if I am learning and I am training, I trust that God put the strength in me so that I can keep going. So, it's not that I trust in God and I don't trust in me. It's I trust me. Because I trust in God, I trust that God gave me the energy to move forward. I trust that God gave me a brain to think. I trust that nature, if you don't want to say God, because many people don't believe in God. So, let's talk to people who don't believe in God. Someone who believes in God understands this. But let's talk to an atheist, someone who doesn't believe in God. Do you trust that you can do your job more or less well? That you can also make mistakes and learn? Yes, I do. Well then, why do you trust? To the person who does not believe in God. And you trust because nature, don't call it God, gave you the energies to carry out that task. So then you already have Emunah. You have Emunah.
That's right.
Because unfortunately, people think that Emunah has to do with trust in God. No, it has to do with trust in the whole system. When we use the term God in Kabbalah, it does not refer to a bearded being. Rather, it refers to the system as a whole. So I trust that the overall system is going to help me. First of all, the overall system sustains my life. I am alive because I am part of the overall system. When I wake up in the morning, I say, thank God that I am alive. We are going to change the word God in a moment. For those people who don't believe in God, who are atheists, and we're going to say thank you, general system, that you allow me to have life today. And why? And because the general system makes me stay alive. So, I tell my heart every time my heart beats, you have to beat. No, the heart beats by itself. I'm not telling it all the time. I don't ask the blood, are you well? Are you bad? That is to say, I do not give any order to this body that apparently is working. So, what is trust? Trust is that I have been given a structure that is working and that I have to be grateful that it is working. When that structure starts to stop working, well, it is a structure that starts to stop working because every structure starts to stop working and reaches what we call death. So, what we go to is the functioning or non-functioning of everything that happens here. That is, everything that happens here has like a logic by which it happens here. It has a logic of creation that does not depend on me, they depend on forces that are beyond me. So, when my heart is beating and my physical system is moving, it is moved by something in the system, let's call it the biological system. Then there is a thought within the system. Because if the system would not think about moving, it stopped moving. If the heart thinks in a moment, I'm tired of moving, it stops and it's all over. It's not all over, one passes to the other side, but in this identity it's over. So what we are getting at is if we put ourselves from a cold, rational, atheistic point of view, the system works. It works imperfectly. Of course it works imperfectly, because it was created imperfectly, so that we can work in it. So, what is Emunah? Emunah is confidence that if we are alive here, it's because the system is working. Therefore, I have confidence that the system works, and consequently, I am grateful that the system works. For someone who is an atheist and does not want to call it God, they might say that nature works or the system works. Emunah is trust. Now, I cannot fall asleep in bed. I trust that I am going to fix this universe. I am going to participate in fixing this universe. So I'm going out to work, I'm going to study, I'm going to train, so that I can help make the universe a better place. A more livable place from the imperfections that it has today. So that then I work, and then I study, and then I perform. And live. Then I have an intrinsic confidence in life. I already have an intrinsic confidence in my own life, but why do I have it? Because I am trained. This concept of Emunah, which comes from the book of Habakkuk, who is one of the minor prophets of the Tanakh, misnamed Old Testament. Of the Hebrew Bible, Habakkuk says, the righteous shall live by trust, he shall live by Emunah. What is the righteous shall live by Emunah? That you can live if you have confidence. If you don't have confidence in life, you commit suicide. So what does a suicide do? I have no confidence in this life is a disaster. I lost confidence, he committed suicide. Why are all of us alive? Because when we wake up in the morning, with respect to all those who work at night and get up at a different time, those of us who get up in the morning, when we get up in the morning, we are making a vote of confidence in our life. We are telling life that it deserves to be lived. And it is not a matter of faith. It's not a matter of faith in God. It's a matter of training. In my own life, by the forces given to me by the system, and therefore I have confidence. What happened? There was the union between Jewish culture and Greek culture. It looks like Christianity. And at concept of Emunah began to be called faith because of faithfulness. But mysteriously that term in Greek culture began to be a term, a word used for abstraction, as a mental belief, not as a training in the matter, but began to be placed only in the theoretical field. So, the one who has faith says, I believe in Buddha. And what does it mean to believe in Buddha? I don't know. I believe in a person who was crucified 2,000 years ago. Are you faithful to his message? Or do you believe in that person? Because there is a problem here. Because the message is a message of ethical activity, not of believing in a person who is on the cross as a savior. So here we have a problem. When the concept of faith entered the Greek world, faith became detached from works, and even St. Paul himself, who spoke of faithfulness in relation to works, was misunderstood. Now, those works are the training of my trust. How can I have abstract faith without the practice of my deeds, without cultivating my trust? That's why there's the letter of James in the New Testament, where James is hypothetically asking, Show me your faith without works, because I will show you my faith with works. Because James is discussing Emunah in that letter. He's explaining that through my actions, through my practice, I develop confidence. I am going to base my confidence on my actions. What is the conclusion? In religious faith, which is a magical act, religious faith, because it is an invisible act of belief, today I believe in Buddha, and tomorrow I believe in something else. And ethically, I do not change at all. That means, if a person is a thief, believes in Buddha today, and believes in something else tomorrow, they are still a thief, and their actions do not change. So of course, be careful here. Because you can change your faith 1,000 times or have no faith, but your ethical field does not change, your behavior does not change. What is the use of all this faith? It's no use. Because the ethical works are the ones that train you to have faith. So notice, the root of the Emunah are the ethical deeds that what they do is train you in faithfulness to the system. Faithfulness to God. I am faithful to God if I actually train within the system. If I don't train myself and I'm sleeping in there, and I think I'm going to be saved by faith, because I'm going to be waiting for somebody to come along, comes the great story, the famous story that we are going to tell for the public that is listening to us, which is the story of the drowning man, the man who is drowning and says, I have faith in God, I am going to save myself. A helicopter comes and says, come on, we are coming to save you. I have faith in God, God is going to save me. Away with the helicopter. The plane is coming, we are coming to save you. Away with the plane, because I have faith in God. Eventually drowns and dies. Arrives at the heavenly tribunal and is received by God. Listen to me. What happened here? I don't understand anything, says God. Why don't you understand anything? On the contrary, I don't understand that you didn't come to save me. I was waiting for you to save me, but I sent you the helicopter, I sent you the plane. I sent it all to you, and you didn't take it. So, watch out. Faith or religious belief is a magical act where I do not use any instrument that God sends me because I believe that God without any instrument is going to save me. No. The Emunah is I believe I get on the helicopter and I understand that the helicopter or the one who is saving me is an instrument of divinity. I'm not going to turn my neighbor away. I don't want your help because I expect God's help, but God is sometimes sending you help through the other. So you have to be very careful because today the framework of the idea of faith that many people have is a theoretical faith, an abstract faith, a faith that I am convinced that I have faith in something. But here, the problem of Emunah in the face of faith is that what Emunah asks for is behavioral training to increase fidelity. So trust and faith have become entangled in two absolutely different terms that could be synonymous if one analyzes them. But faith has remained in the theoretical framework of belief, and Emunah, as the Kabbalah puts it, in the practical framework of the action of training.
Just to, not to round off, but to reaffirm what you have just said, I had pointed out that Emunah is a mystical concept, not a religious one. I think this detail is important. And then also that Emunah seems to be like also, in addition to the fact that it implies practice, experience, Emunah is the key to access the mystical experience. That is to say, the Emunah also as a trigger to access the mystical experience.
Is as cause and consequence.
That's right.
I mean, the Emunah is a consequence of my training and a cause of my training.
That's it.
Because look, we have two types of training. The training that looks for a result and the training without result. Look, training without result is the training where I am not looking for a result, but I am happy in my training. What is the result of training without result? The result of training without result is the increase of Emunah because it increases my confidence. It means that there is always a result in training without a result. On the other hand, in the training with result is the worst result because it may happen that if the result does not come out, you lose the Emunah.
Thank you, Mario.
A big hug, shalom,